it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. And today, well, this is actually the third time you might have joined me, because today I had Top Tip Tuesday. Obviously, it's Tuesday. I also have my coffee and card session over on my Facebook page. That will be going, a replay of that will be on my YouTube later this week. And because it's Tuesday, it's also another day for the Spot Challenge. And this week, the Spot Challenge is to make your own designer series paper. And I've decided to use the Nothing's Better Than stamp set, A, because I love it, but also I think it is less likely that one of the other design team members will use it. We don't get to see what everyone else has made until a couple of days before we go live. So I'm kind of hedging my bets here. So I have used this, and I've used the coffee symbols. So I've used the coffee, it's not coffee, cookies. So I've used the cookie, or biscuit if you're in the UK, and the word cookies. On crumb cake, I've done cookies in soft suede. I've done the outline of the cookie in crumb cake and the inside in crumb cake that I've stamped off. I will quickly show you that just on the back of this. Actually, I'll do it on the back of the piece that I'm going to use on today's project, which is this piece, just so that I don't waste the other, because I can obviously use the reverse side on other projects. Right, so I have got my ink pad, so soft suede and crumb cake. And I just need a scrap of paper. So I might as well use the same scrap I used before. Now, when you are doing two-step stamping, which some of the cookies I've used two-step stamping on because I've done two images, I would always recommend doing the dark first and then the light, because it's much easier to see the dark through the block and the stamp rather than trying to see the light through dark ink. So dark, and then stamp off. This is much easier because I can see, and hopefully you can see through that block, I can see the outline of the cookie and I can therefore stamp. But what I did was not just, I didn't do the inside for all of them. I did some that were just the outline. And then what you want to do is do a few of your actual round elements, I'm going to call them, because otherwise we're going to get confused, and then come in with the word. And, you know, don't always have the beginning of the word, but come in and kind of fill in some of the gaps. Now, I found that the dip for the double O in cookies fits quite nicely round the cookie, so the cookie comes into it, and you just keep going like that. So that is all you need to do for your designer series paper. Just cover the whole sheet, or the amount you want. Just going to clean those stamps off because I don't need all of them again. I need some, but not all. So let me show you the card that I have made, and then we will work backwards from there. So this is my card. So it's all very much the biscuity colours. And I've used, again, if you saw my Creating Kindness post last week, I used the shimmery crystal effects on my die cut. And again, I've done it on this one. Can you see? And it makes it all shiny and lovely. And I've just done some little blobs on the biscuit. On mint macaron, I really like the look of crumb cake and mint macaron, and I've used soft suede as my card. And then on the inside I've got Today's Plan, Consume Cookies and Be Awesome, and that's on vanilla because I'm in that sort of softer palette, that kind of more of a vanilla palette. I've done the ribbon using, just realised I've left it over the other side of my room, using the white crinkle seam binding and just coloured it with a Stampin' Right marker. You can use either Stampin' Right markers or blends. The blends will dry quicker, but we don't have a mint macaron blend. So I have, yes, I don't think we do, or do we? No, we do. So you can use blends, but I've used the Stampin' Right marker. How sad is that? The Stampin' Right marker will leave it a softer finish. Let me just grab another piece of the... So here's another piece of that ribbon. And let me grab my mat that I'm going to be using later anyway. So if I use blend, it will dry really quickly. I mean, it'll take a little bit of time, but, you know, basically it will dry fairly quickly. But I will show you, once that's dried, the difference between the ribbon that's coloured with the Stampin' Right marker and the ribbon dyed with the blends. Now, interestingly, the Stampin' Right marker is definitely darker than the blend. The blend is a much closer colour, but actually probably not right for the project anyway, because it's almost too light once you put it on the cream, on the crumb cake. But this, if I hold this up, well, hold it there, can you see that's quite stiff? If I hold this up at about the same point, it's not until it gets quite a lot shorter that it has the legs to stand up on its own, whereas this is pretty stiff. So you do get a different effect, not just a different colour, but a different effect depending on which you use. Anyway, we are 6 and nearly 7 minutes into the video and I've hardly done anything with you yet. So I have got a soft suede card base. It's just half a sheet of International A4. I will have the measurements over on my website. The link to that is below, and I'll have them for North American cardstock as well. I've got a mat of mint macaron. This is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8, and then I've got my piece of designer series paper, which from memory is 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. If I could find my ruler, I would check that for you. But again, the measurements are going to be, oh, there it is. Oh no, 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. The measurements will be down on my website down below. Okay, so let's get rolling with this. And I obviously have a piece of vanilla for the inside. So let's actually start from the inside out. And there is logic in this. Well, my logic, so probably not. So I'm going to stamp the cookies in soft suede, because that's kind of where we are with the cookie word anyway. So I'm going to start by inking that up. And I was watching one of Rachel Tessman's videos this morning, and she made a very good point. If you're doing a word, don't put it on the block straight, because then you'll get confused by, if it's not completely straight, you'll try and line up with the edge of the block rather than the word. And I thought, what a very sensible suggestion. So, and try not to ink up the edge of your block as well, which is what I had done. So that is our cookies. Clean the edge of my block and my stamp at the same time. And then I've lined up the Today's Plan, Consume and Be Awesome so that they fit round the word cookies, which I've just realised is not straight. Now I have to say I have done that straight on the block. Part of my reasoning for that was that if I had stamped cookies straight, if I lined this up with cookies, then it would be straight. I'm actually going to line it up hopefully straight and have cookies at a slightly kooky angle. It just feels right somehow. So that is actually all the stamping I'm going to need to do today. But what I am going to need to do is, if I bring in my card again, behind the Love You More Than Cookies, I have got a piece of vellum, but it's crumb cake vellum, so it sort of disappears. It's obviously there, but not. So I've done this before. This is standard vellum. I've got a dark crumb cake, and all I'm going to do, actually I'll do it in this end here, is run the brush end of my blend onto the back or the front of my vellum. I am going to need to leave that to dry because then I want to do the other side as well. But if I get one done, that gets us part way there. Let me fold my card in half and grab my bone folder, which inevitably is buried, and pop this inside using, where is it? There we are, my seal. I'm beginning to get to grips with seal. It's a really good adhesive, and I don't think you need to do the flick, which I've been telling everyone I think you do need to do. I think you just bring it up and just straight and pull, and it seems to sort itself out that way. Whereas the flick, you do end up with the tape that the adhesive is actually on going off centre, which was the problem with fuse as well, if you remember back to our fast fuse days. So let's pop that on the inside of the card, preferably. Now you'll have noticed I didn't put the seal all round. It's a good adhesive, you don't need to. It's not like snail in a humid atmosphere where you had to kind of put everything, cover everything. So I'm just going to do the back of my vellum, and I'm going to go the opposite way. So I went that way. Now I'm going to go this way. I find it gets a much better finish because you've got the lines hatching rather than going in the same direction, so you're less likely to end up with lines. So can you see that that looks really nice and smooth? So as I say, I'll leave that to dry because I will need to do one more piece of, hope you'll agree, cleverness with that. Now I am going to use my Tombow liquid adhesive for my mint macaron, because then I've got my little bit of wiggle room, and you do not need much. It's a bit like the seal. You do not need to use a gallon of Tombow. It is a good glue. So that's that. My next mat is going to be popped up with dimensionals. So I've just got some offcuts of the edges of my dimensionals. I might need to open a new packet as well, but might as well use the edges rather than throwing them away. Please don't throw your edges away. They are just as good at popping things up as the woo, preferably without going over the edge. If in doubt, pull it up with a twist. If you twist your adhesive off, it is less likely to tear your paper. Just saying. And yes, I am going to need another pack of dimensionals. I love doing that. One of my favourite things is cracking open a new pack. Okay, so let me pop this onto the front of our... Ooh, I've just remembered something. Let me not pop that onto the front of my card yet, because I need to put my ribbon on. That was close. So let me bring in my silicone mat, because that means I can pop this down and it won't stick. Right, so I need a piece to run across there. So grab my snips and snip, and glue dots, which I had just now. Here we are, my glue dots. So I'm just going to pick up my my mat and pop a glue dot on each side of my, preferably even. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick down one end and line that up on my grid paper so that it's level with a square, and then that is where my other glue dot needs to go. See, you see my crafting, warts and all. So that is where my other glue dot needs to go. So I can then bring my ribbon round and be fairly certain that that is going to be straight, which it is. Hurrah! Right, okay, so for my bow, I've got my other piece, far too much actually, but better too much than too little. And I'm just going to do a double bunny ears bow, and then I can finish building my card around my bow. I can move my bow because I've got it on the piece of ribbon that's here, as opposed to it being the piece of ribbon. So double bunny ears, pull the ears together, or apart rather. They're not going together, they're going apart. Adjust. And I can tell that's going to be too far that way, so let's bring it over to the edge, and then I can adjust my bunny ears a bit. So just very gently pull the loose end and then tighten up, pull a little more, tighten, and once you're happy with your bow, you can cut your ends off. And I will ultimately stick that down, but I'm going to wait just in case I need to move it again. So let's bring this back in and go back to where we were, which was taking the paper off our dimensionals. Ho hum. I wouldn't be me if I had a brain that actually worked. That's what I keep telling myself anyway. Right, and pop that down. Now, you will see that my designer series paper is sliced in, bizarre places. What you don't want if you're doing stamping on your background is to have everything inside. If you look at a piece of designer series paper and cut up a piece of designer series paper, you will see that it is not inside the edges. So let's not make it inside the edges. Oh, I've just realised I do need to do one more bit of stamping, but that's all right. So I've got in my, I can't remember what it's called, punch, but it will be listed in the blog post and also below in the description bar. I will have a list of everything I've used. My final piece of stamping, I need a cookie. So I need those bits. And I need my scrap of paper and my crumb cake ink pad. You can see can you see I've been doing all my stamping from the middle, so there's almost a bald patch now. So let's ink up full strength and stamp, and then grab my very scrappy piece of scrap again, ink up, stamp off, and stamp. Am I in this camera? Just about. Stamp. Now I've finished my stamping. Get rid of that. I need to die cut my cookie, and of course the bundle for the Nothing's Better Than comes with Love You More Than dies. So we've got Love You More Than, coffee, cookies, cocktails and chocolate, and then we've got the imagery to go with it. I'm obviously going to need the cookie. So let me just die cut that. I can't wait for our new mini die cutter to become available, because that will mean I can bring it in more. But lugging my big shot around is... it's like weightlifting. It's very good for me, but it is like weightlifting. So there is our cookie. I will be putting my shimmer effects on there, but firstly we need to build everything up. Now I have done quite a lot of this already, because otherwise it is going to be a bit like watching paint dry, because I have die cut all my words 3 times. So I have got 3 of everything, 2 cut in crumb cake and 2 cut in soft suede. I have prepared all except the Love You, because otherwise it really would be mind-bogglingly boring to watch. So we've got, before I die cut, I stuck some of our double-sided adhesive sheets onto the card. So when I die cut them, they become stickers, which makes it just so easy to stick them down and pile them up. And I like having the two-tone on my words. So it just gives it a bit more of a, I don't know, it just feels more professional that way. You could, of course, just use all the same colour, but I do like two-tone die-cut stacks. And it's a great way of using up scraps of card, even if you've already stamped on them. So if I wanted, I mean, I'm going to use this side for everything, you know, I'm going to cut mats out of it. But if I had done really bad stamping, I could have used this side if I wanted to. So we're going this way, and I'm going to just stick these down because I've already done the kind of layout that I need once already. So I'm reasonably comfortable with where I'm going with this. So love, and yes, I am going over the edge. Don't worry, I have a solution for that too, because this is all going to be popped up. This is going to be here, a little bit further off. You, love you. More. Come on, there we go. So this is all going to be on dimensionals, and I can already hear you say, but Liz, we're going to see through the vellum, we're going to see the dimensionals. Yeah, not so much. Don't worry, I have it sorted. Because you're right, you would. That's going to nestle in under the Y of the U, and the top of the H is going to go into that gap between the O and the U. So more than, and then cookies is going to come down here and just be, again, we're going to make the most of our letters and pop that there. Right, this I'll wait for a little while. Turn over, and I still have my embossing buddy. You can use any form of, you know, powder, or just unstick it, as in stick it to a fluffy surface, but just, it takes the stick off the adhesive. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not difficult. It's not a difficult word. However, right, so I'm going to want, the cookie's going to come in here, so I can easily stick a dimensional there. That's not difficult. I've got powder everywhere now, of course. But if I want a mini dimensional, probably here, here, and maybe over there, I've brought in my, my dark soft suede. So wherever I want a dimensional, I'm going to add some dark soft suede, and just go with me on this. I'll have another one there, I think. Just thinking I've got something holding it up there, probably there. Yep, that should be enough. So we need to let those dry, and then we can come in with our dimensional. Now let me just show you this. I'll show you it there. So if I pop that on my card, you can see the dimensional. I think we can all agree it's there. But if I pop it there, and there, and there, so where I've put the soft suede, you can't see it. I mean, if you know they're there, you can see it, but you can't see it like you can see that. Just so that I've got this, you know, I've convinced you, let me pop that there very gently, because I want to take it off. Now I can see that, just, whoops, if I keep it from moving around, I can see that through the letter. But by adding the soft suede, we've made it darker, so it's not, it just doesn't show through. It's just, hey-ho, there we go. I'd like to say, it's so clever. Well, it is. But I shouldn't say that because I'm the one who thought of it. So, glue dots on the back of my cookie. Come in with that. And I am going to add another dimensional there just because I don't think one is going to be enough, particularly as it's a mini. So I can then, do I want one down there? I think I probably do. So I'm going to, whoops, other end. I'm just going to add another one just there, which I will do now. I was going to say I'll wait. I'm actually running out of video, so I can't. So it's not quite dry yet, but it's fine. So let me just grab these off and then we'll be finished, other than putting the crystal effects on, which I can show you how I do it and then finish off. So, and it will also give you the opportunity to see the difference. I want the than on the ribbon. The than. Can you have the than? So let me just show you. Actually, I may not put crystal effects on this one. Let me show you the difference. Can you see the difference between those? If I pop them there, it might be easier. This kind of blends back into the background. I will make it straight before I finish. Whereas this, it's very much more obvious. So there we go. That's why I would do crystal effects. I will very quickly, I want to just see if I can pull this up and make it straight. That's better. So all you do with your crystal effects, it comes in a little pen anyway. Make sure you keep your ribbon out of the way while you're doing this. And you just get the glue running, because it is technically a glue, and just draw round your letter. Simple as that. It comes out a little cloudy. Hopefully you can see that that's a bit cloudy, but it dries to this lovely sheen, and because it's got a little bit of glitter in it, it's not solid glitter, it's just enough to just catch the light a bit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you go and have a look at my website, which is linked below, you will see the link to the Spot Challenge. I'll have the banner from the Spot Challenge website, and if you just click on that, it will take you straight to the website. Do go and have a look at what the other design team members have come up with, and then have a go. We love seeing your entries. It's very easy to enter. You can enter pretty much from anywhere. If you've got a website, absolutely. If you've got Pinterest, Instagram, all those sorts of things, you can enter from those as well. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Sorry this was a slightly long video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. And of course, if you wish to share the video, that would be lovely as well. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, hopefully. Have a good day.